The dawn of a new era in Happy Valley. Matt Campbell bringing a history of success from Ames, Iowa, and also bringing a significant portion of his roster. The Penn State Nittany Lions hoping to take advantage of a favorable schedule and return to the CFP after last year's stumble. We go up close with the blue and white over the next hour on our Penn State Practice Tour special. Now. And with that, we welcome you to State College. A new coaching staff, plenty of new players, and lots of optimism as year one of the Matt Campbell era set to begin here in Happy Valley. Dave Revson alongside Jerry DiNardo and Howard Griffith getting set to go watch Penn State go through practice. And, last year we were here, guys, they were the preseason number 2 team in the country. There was all this talk about a national championship. Yeah. And, man, it just fell apart. 3 straight losses for James Franklin. He lost his job, 6 straight losses in all. And now they start anew. So what interests you the most as we prepare to see Matt Campbell go through the paces?
I think it's always most interesting how the game's presented, how it's being coached. Are they up-tempo? Is there a lot of contact? What's Matt Campbell like? I mean, this is obviously an accomplished guy. I mean, I want to observe him and, what's he doing to practice. I think you have to look at how physical the team is every year, every team that we go visit, how physical they are and how skilled they are. So how it's coached, how physical and how skilled they are.
Well, one of the things that we've always looked at when it comes to Penn State was what's happening in the trenches, particularly the offensive line, what that group looks like, how they're able to run the football. That'll be a big part of it. And at the quarterback spot, how they're pushing the ball down the field. One of the things we've talked about for years is the explosiveness that they have not had on the outside. Let's see what they have now with a different style of offense, and we'll see if they're able to capitalize.
It's funny how it, too, as Rever was telling us about last year, we thought that it was the most talented team that we had covered in what was 19 years ago, right? And it didn't all work out. And so you get a good feel at camp, but you don't always get it right.
I'm really interested to see. Well, that's for sure. Yeah. We're living testament to that. But I am really interested to see just kind of how you integrate the new faces, right? And that you have all these people, 24 players who played for Matt Campbell at Iowa State. You look at the skill positions, and we're talking about Rocco Becht. I mean, he's got 2 receivers. He's got a tight end. He's got a running back. All these guys he knows. He's got an offensive lineman up front. You got the backup quarterback who was there as well. So from that point of view, you have familiarity, and yet you have unfamiliarity simultaneously. And I think that dichotomy is really interesting.
Right. So if I'm a player on the team, and I've been on the team for the last few years, I'm going to find someone who played for him at Iowa State, right? And I want to get to know Coach Campbell. I want to get to know the assistants. But I want to hear the stories first. I don't want to go on the practice, totally in the dark. Yeah. Tell me what this thing is going to be like.
And I'll say this. Since the inception of the portal, these players that have made changes have had an opportunity to look around the country and see how other people have done it, particularly when you think about quarterbacks coming in and being able to lead their program. So there's a blueprint out there. So I think it'll be interesting to see just how quickly they're able to integrate themselves into the program.
And, Howard, this can happen every year, right? Because you're always going to have portals. So you're always going to have at least 2 groups. This is 3 groups, but as you go forward, it's going to be 2 groups.
Well,
it should be the portal, and it's going to be the regular guys.
Yeah. What do you say we dive in? You ready?
I'm ready to dive.
Let's go. New faces, the biggest story in State College. They have the fewest starts by returning players in the Big Ten, but the most starts by incoming players. 158 FBS starts combined by the players Matt Campbell brought in from the portal. That is nearly 20 more than UCLA, which is next on the list. 39 of those career starts belong to the new quarterback in Happy Valley, Rocco Becht. That's the most of any FBS QB. Becht, not only the most experienced QB in the FBS, he's also the winningest QB in the FBS with a national best 26 victories under his belt. Becht and his former Cyclone teammate, running back Carson Hansen with Howard.
Rocco, Carson, both you guys come at this from a different perspective, a unique perspective. What were some of the things that went in to when you decided you were going to come to Penn State? Rocco, go with you.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having us on. But yeah, it was definitely a tough decision at first. Had to look at all the options, all the pros, all the cons of every scenario, every team. And at the end of the day, there was just way more cons for coming here with Penn State with my head coach, my quarterback coach, my OC, 23 other guys of my old teammates. So just the ability to just have that familiarity in the program, in the building was something that was going to be big for me going into my last year, my senior year. To ultimately be successful for my senior year, for whenever I jump up into that next level.
Carson, how about you?
Yeah, kind of similar to Rocco. Trusted faces is the number one thing for me. I trust the people here in this program, Coach Campbell and the rest of his staff. They've done a phenomenal job my past 3 years, so I wouldn't want to put it in anyone else's hands. And for kind of like Rocco, my last year, maybe one after with this rule coming up, but we'll see.
Tell me what your first reaction was when you had an opportunity to come on campus, whether it was the football facility, whether it's just walking around. What were you thinking about this place?
I mean, it's a pretty special place. The tradition here, just really everything about this place screams just tradition, rich tradition, and just it's really cool to play for. Something like this at Iowa State, there wasn't a lot of tradition. We were kind of making it happen. So it's just really cool to be at a school where there's just such great tradition.
For both of you guys are veterans playing this game. Take the viewer inside of the game, because when you had an opportunity, you walk to the line of scrimmage. I'm not asking you to give things away, but what's your process like when you go? Because you're a guy that wants to push the ball down the field. What are you seeing? What is the thoughts when you go through that?
Yeah, obviously, when you first go up to the wall, you got to be calm. You got to be cool and collected. You can't go up there kind of fidgeting, kind of being anxious, being nervous. You got to know exactly what's going on, what you're seeing, and that's all due to the preparation that you do throughout the week. So, a lot of guys start low, some guys start high. You kind of just look at demeanors, look at tendencies of what you've seen on film during that week, and you just kind of put it all together. And when you're able to do that, the game is able to slow down. And I feel like now going into my fourth year starting, the game should be slower for me. And so it's been feeling really good to be back out there for this fall camp. And I'm excited for the season to put it all to work.
Carson, when I have an opportunity to watch your film, you're a really patient runner, do a great job with your eyes and blocking guys. Take me through your process before you carry the ball.
Yeah, first of all, you got to look down at the front. You got to see the shell of the coverages, and you also got to see the free hat, when you're able to break through the line. That's something that I'm really trying to work on, open field running, understanding where everyone's at on the field, understanding how the O-line, how they have leverage or they don't have leverage against linebackers. That's a huge thing. And then in pass protection, being aware, blitz indicators, everything like that, that's something that's really important too.
Expectations are really high. I think when I look back to previous years, people want to talk about explosive plays downfield. How does that go into your preparation? And has the offense stayed similar to what it was at Iowa State, or have there been some subtle changes?
Yeah, there's a couple verbiage changes that we've changed just to kind of mature the offense a little bit, mature the playbook. But other than that, we're going into it with the same mindset, being able to do anything, under center, shotgun, all of our checks and kills kind of stuff. So really just an NFL-style offense that I'm excited to be a part of for my last year again, to prepare myself for that next level. And like you said, the explosive plays, they will come. But at the end of the day, you just got to play by play.
Carson, tell me about the big fellas up front, and make sure you include the tight ends in that group as well, and how they're coming together.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty special to see them in spring ball throughout the summer. We've only been with each other for like 6 to 7 months, but it's been really cool seeing our connection, seeing us gel together. And, I can't appreciate the O-line and tight ends enough. They just do so much for us, and they take a lot of force and a lot of contact that, we understand as running backs, but, man, they're in the trenches with us, and we just really appreciate them.
Well, thanks a lot. Really appreciate you guys' time. Have a great year.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Becht and Hansen, far from the only notable Iowa State transfers on the offensive side of the ball. Campbell also bringing his top 3 pass catchers from last season. Wide receivers Chase Soell and Brett Eskelson, along with tight end Ben Bramer, plus guard Trevor Bohr. The continuity not limited to the players. Campbell also retaining offensive coordinator Taylor Mauser. Continuity, one of the keys for Campbell as he looks to hit the ground running. The new coach joins us next with more on his plan, plus early training camp impressions. Our Camp Tour special rolls on from State College. Penn State head coaching job number 3 for Matt Campbell, who grew up a few hours from here in football-mad Massillon, Ohio. A winner everywhere he's gone. 3 national titles as a player at Mount Union, 20 games over 500 in 4 years at Toledo, and the all-time winningest coach at Iowa State, where he was the 3-time Big 12 Coach of the Year. Pleased to be joined now by the head coach of the Nittany Lions, Matt Campbell. And Coach, every program is different, but what are the characteristics that have stood out to you early on in your time here at Penn State that separates this program?
Well, I just think that the history of excellence, not just in terms of success on the football field, but success of the humans that have walked these halls. I think you sprint to this facility every day and you walk through the halls and you see the Lettermen, you see the All-Americans, you see the people that have built the fabric of this program. And then you talk about the great coaches that have walked these halls and what they have stood for. And so I think when you tie all those things together, you're really grateful to be able to represent that great tradition, and certainly really grateful for the opportunity to continue to build it forward.
And as you look to build it, one of the things that you got so many compliments on from your players at Iowa State through the years was the culture that you built. Now, part of it is you brought a lot of those guys, so you have a head start to a certain extent in building that culture. But what are the steps that you went through here early on to get to that point where you were in Ames?
Yeah, and again, culture, and we know that it's everybody's got it and everybody's speaking it, but really culture is how you live every day, and what are the expectations and standards that you're willing to sacrifice for the greater good of the whole. And I think that's really the starting point, was creating standards and expectations in everything we do, from how we go to class every day to how we show up to the facility every day, how we take care of nutrition and strength and conditioning, and how you study film. And, to be honest with you, that's really been the foundation of really everything we've done for the last 7 months, including the start of fall camp. It's not so much what we do, but it's how we do what we do, and really building the how in this whole process.
Coach, what are some of the most important things you want to get taught in camp?
Well, I think the one great thing, and we've seen this early, is, really an extension of building off the foundational scheme in all 3 phases, offense, defense, and special teams. That's one thing we're going through, a holistic change in every area, coaches and players. And, we tried to lay a really great foundation to fundamentals in spring football. We tried to come out of spring ball with a really great understanding of maybe what our players currently could do, so we could go into the summer and start to bridge those gaps and do a great job of trying to make sure whatever scheme we were going to build forward matched our personnel. And I think continuing to pound away at who we are in terms of a football team, and then really how we want to play the game of football, how we want to attack every opportunity and really be great situational masters as we grow ourselves forward. And so, the growth process of building a football team for the journey that's coming before us is really what we're trying to continue to build forward on.
So you have the former Penn State players that were here before you got here. You have the Iowa State guys that came with you. You have portal guys. So do you have to reteach camp nowadays as you go forward in this environment?
Well, again, I think I always lean back on, I think today in college football, every year you're starting back over in January. And whether that's this environment or any environment, I still think there's a foundation of every year is different and we have to start over because every team is different. And so I don't know if that's totally changed. I think as we get into camp, there's certainly some differences for everybody, and where we stay in the hotel, what does a whole day look like during camp? All those things are maybe different, but I don't know if it's different everywhere. And I think my biggest thing, again, is the process it takes to study film, how we as coaches can be great teachers and use our time wisely, understanding that, yes, camp has got to be physical and we got to get the most out of our camp in terms of creating the contact collision for the start of the season, but also understanding that, our expectation is to play for the long haul, and understanding every rep has value, and yet we got to be great teachers so we can maximize those reps both on the field and in the meeting rooms.
There's been so many changes. Has the amount of contact that you have in camp changed? I mean, how much do you live scrimmage?
Yeah, I think live scrimmage and just the physicality of camp, I still think is really critical. I a couple years ago got to spend time with Andy Reid, and you talk about, his belief in contact collision, and certainly preparing your football team for the start of the season. You're only guaranteed 12 games, and I don't think you can miss on any of those 12. And so I think there's really the first 2 to 3 weeks of fall camp, really putting in the value of contact collision and how we play. Obviously, the scrimmage full live reps to thud reps. What's that balance look like? But I think the physicality of every day we've got pads on is really critical to build this team forward. Now, the length of practice, how long we go, I think you got to be smart there. But I still think there's got to be a great approach to preparing the contact collision for the early part of the season.
So as you've observed all of that, what has encouraged you the most here early on in camp?
Well, I think the one thing we have is there is a lot of competition, right? No matter where you came from or where you stayed, there is a lot of talent on this roster. And I think one of the things that everybody's going through is change, and nobody's position is guaranteed. It's like this unique year where everybody's fighting for their opportunity to showcase what they can do in the system and what they can do for their coaches. And so I think the thing that's been really rewarding is to watch the energy and the intent of every day we've had in practice. Now it's early, and can that sustain? Can we maximize every day as we continue to move ourselves through the part of fall camp? But there's been great energy. There's been great competition. And I think we're pleasantly surprised with certainly what the capability of our football team's got the ability to become.
I started by asking you about the characteristics of Penn State. I want to kind of finish there too, but weave in some of the hires that you made. Danton Lynn, someone who we covered when he was a player, which
not that we're getting old,
ages us just a little bit, but obviously has a great track record here in the Big Ten. You brought Michael Mauti back, who's an important part of this, the history of this program and the recent history of this program. Terry Smith, you kept as a holdover. So strategically, why was it important to get each one of those guys, and how do you hope to bridge from the past at this place, which, as you noted, is so special to the present?
Yeah, I think in just talking about each one of those guys a little bit individually, Terry was the first hire that was really easy for me. I had known Terry from my time at University of Toledo when we were recruiting his high school football team, and you were always grateful if you got a guy from Terry Smith because you knew what was coming: smart, tough, detailed, which we keep talking about building our football team on. And you got to watch Terry lead, at the end of last season, and kind of really steadied the ship in a really positive way as the season ended. And I thought that was huge for not only just our team, but it was really huge for me to have somebody that really could, help me understand where we were and where we needed to go. And, and then you talk about, bringing Danton Lynn. Danton was number one on our hit list in terms of coming here. John Haycock retired at Iowa State. John did an unbelievable job for us there, and when we knew his retirement was coming, we were kind of, what's the next step for us as we continue to build defenses going forward? And I had admired Danton from afar. Deion Broomfield, who's our secondary coach, was with Danton at the Houston Texans and had a great relationship with him. So there was a personal tie within our walls that really knew who he was. And then getting a letterman, getting a former player that stood for excellence here as a player that was doing it now in the coaching profession. I just thought it was critically important to be able to find that right fit, and Danton's certainly been that. And then you interview him and you talk about articulate, sharp, unbelievable teacher, and you've really seen that through our 7 months here. He's done an unbelievable job in the room with his coaching staff, and I think we've got a great coaching staff on defense. He's done a great job of unifying that voice, what they want to do, how we want to teach it, and then the ability to go in the room with the kids and be a great teacher. And I think you've seen that. I feel like defensively we've done a great job, really growth from where we were, practice one of spring ball to where we are right now, and that's a great credit to him. And then you talk about Michael Mauti. We got Michael Mauti and Jordan Hill, both captains on that 2012 team, and what that team stood for in the history of Penn State football. I think it's why we're all here and have the opportunity to do what we're doing. Those guys, their leadership as players showed. Michael was on staff at the university. And, probably about a month and a half in, I got a chance to sit down with him, and it was like, man, I got to get this guy in our football facility. And it's been awesome to have him and Jordan, both of those guys, in a great role where they can really serve the student athlete experience both on the field but equally off the field. And it's been great to have both of those guys.
Oh, great stuff there. Matt Campbell, thanks for your time. Again, welcome to the Big Ten, and look forward to seeing your team out on the field this fall.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Coach.
Campbell will be judged by his ability to beat the best teams on Penn State's schedule, an area where his predecessor, James Franklin, fell short. Franklin just 4 wins in 25 games against top 10 foes in his 11-plus years here. Campbell won the same number against top 10 teams in Ames in 15 fewer games. Actually won more games against the top 5 than Franklin did. For a little perspective, consider that Iowa State had 8 wins all time against the top 10 before Campbell's arrival. We'll start to break down what we saw in camp today next, starting with the defense. A familiar face back at his alma mater to take charge on that side of the ball. A chat with Lynn straight ahead. Welcome back to State College, where Penn State's new defensive staff has a Big Ten flavor with 4 members of the staff coming from within the conference. Deion Broomfield, the only former Iowa State assistant in the group, which also includes Terry Smith, who was the interim head coach after James Franklin's firing last year. Christian Smith coming from Northwestern, Ikaika Malloy from UCLA, and the group being led by Lynn, returning to his alma mater after successful stints as the DC at UCLA and USC. And defensive coordinator Lynn joins me now. First of all, back at a place that has meant so much to you. What have been the emotions of returning to Penn State?
Man, it's been awesome, and being back, it'd been over 10 years. So just being back on the practice field and seeing the guys go through it and just seeing things from a different perspective has been awesome.
Interestingly, you really didn't have any history with Matt Campbell. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about that process of getting to know him in the interview process and what stood out to you.
The defensive back coach at Iowa State, Deion Broomfield, I coached with him in Houston with the Texans. So when Coach Campbell got the job up here, he kind of connected us. And we talked on the phone a handful of times, and he just really reminded me of why I came to Penn State out of high school. And there was just something in my gut that just felt like this was right.
Why did you come to Penn State out of high school? Like, what was it about him that reminded you of that decision?
The culture. This is a unique place, and I feel like the culture here is a little bit different than other schools. And I really feel like, he fits Penn State.
It's interesting. Think back to your history. Obviously, we covered you here, playing for Coach Paterno, but then Tom Bradley as the defensive coordinator. I know he's a really big influence for you. So tell me a little bit about the impact that each of those two had on you and how maybe you can translate that to your time here.
My time here with Scrap was awesome because he was the coordinator, but he was also my position coach. So I got a chance to really just see the game through his eyes, my freshman through my senior year. We stayed in contact, and he was a great coach. Taught me how to play not just my position, but kind of taught me the entire defense. So once I started to coach, I feel like that helped jumpstart my coaching career.
And you had a path through coaching. Obviously, your dad's a coach as well, but you had a path that took you through the NFL. Who were the guys in your time in the NFL that impacted you in the same way that the Coach Bradley did?
I'd probably say starts with Rex Ryan. I was his quality control coach for 3 years. We did just about every coverage, every pressure you can think of. So I got exposed to a lot of ball. And there's definitely been people after that, but it starts with him.
There's a lot of talk on this defense about how much you have emphasized communication. Mm-hmm. How do you get guys to communicate in the way that you want them to?
You just have to keep on harping on it every single day. It's not just on the practice field. It's when we meet. It's walkthroughs. It's all the time, and if you're going to be wrong, we say be loud and wrong, but we just want you to talk because it's easier to correct what you're saying than it is if you're not talking.
You'd rather they be loud and right, though.
Yes, right? Absolutely.
There's a great history here of edge rushers. Mm-hmm. As I look through your roster, give me a sense of who maybe the next one could be in this group.
It's we're trying to figure that out now. We feel like we have a good group of guys right now. It's elite competition. We're excited to see kind of who that guy's going to be. You have some guys that were here like Yvonne and Max. You have some guys that we brought in new like Alex McPherson, Ike. So it's going to be exciting to see what those guys do.
you made a decision to add some significant size in the middle of that defensive line. Why was that a point of emphasis for you?
You know, just the style of play that we want to play on defense, it starts from the inside out. You know, so it starts with those defensive tackles. And, you know, we went and got 4 guys out of the portal. And, you know, we're going to change the way we recruit that position, but we want to try to get as big inside as we can.
Biggest things you want to get accomplished between now and when the season starts?
You know, just keep on stacking days, you know, improve each day and really just try and figure out what our identity this year is going to be.
What do you want that at the end of the day? Like if it's perfect, what are the adjectives that describe the Dan Lynn defense?
I would say obnoxious communication, shocking effort, attack, and we want to play with edge. You know, we want when people turn on our tape, it to be the style of play and like what our players are doing as opposed to the scheme.
Well, I appreciate your communication here. It hasn't been obnoxious. I want to say it's been just the right tone. But thanks a lot, Dan. Good to see you again.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Defense left a bit to be desired here last season. Remember, Jim Knowles was brought in from national champ Ohio State to elevate the D. Instead, it regressed, particularly during Penn State's 6-game losing streak, a span during which the Nittany Lions gave up more than 30 points per game. They finished in the bottom half of the conference in 4 of the 5 categories listed here. Truthfully, guys, not sure how relevant what happened last year is, given there are only 2 returning starters here. You've got a new staff. What stood out as you watched this group?
Well, defensively, they're talented. They're not real deep. I think the one thing that really gives them a chance for a fast start on defense is their front. I think their front is better than it looked last year, especially in the middle, maybe not as much on the edge. When you look at their schedule and you look at their defense, I believe they have a real chance to shut those first 5 teams down. I don't mean shut out, but enough to keep them where their offense can score enough points to win. So I think they're well positioned, Howard, on defense going into the season.
Well, when you start to think about it, and it all starts up front all the time, and you think about the additions that they added in the portal up front, particularly at the defensive tackle position, that's going to give them that start that they need. And it's going to be important to be able to get to the quarterback as well in those third down situations. And they've got some guys that I think are going to be able to surprise people this year.
Yeah, I mean, they're ahead of the offense, which is totally according to script. Probably every defense in the country at this point in camp is ahead of their offense. And so that's how we find the Penn State defense.
No doubt. And you think about edge rushers, Howard, right? And this is an area where they've been so good through the years. Is there one that obviously jumps off the page? I'm not sure. Isiagu is someone who they're really high on, but the defensive tackles, they went big in the middle there and have some guys who can keep those linebackers free.
And there's less of them to get, whether it's in the portal, whether it's high school recruiting. I mean, that's the hardest position. I think it used to be the hardest position to recruit the edge guys, but it became so popular, and a lot of players in high school wanted to do it. A lot of young college players wanted to do it. But building the middle of the defense has become very difficult in college football.
Max Granville will be a guy coming off an injury that I think is going to have a huge impact. And when you start to think about the edge rushers that they've had in the past, what slowed him down is the knee injury. What you see out of him at times, he is really twitchy, and he's a special one. So when he gets back to 100%, as close to 100%, he will be the difference maker that they need coming off the edge.
Along the same lines, great to see Tony Rojas back there, coming off an injury, running around, looking great. Just a tremendous athlete and a clear leader for this team. More on the defense next. I'll chat with a couple stars of that unit, including one who's trying to bounce back from a tough injury. That's just ahead from Penn State. Personnel-wise, it might make more sense to study Iowa State's defense from last year than Penn State's as he looked to gauge how things might go this season in Happy Valley. The Cyclones' top 4 tacklers from a season ago all transferred here. In all, Penn State added 18 defensive players from the portal, highlighted by 6 on the D-line and 5 at safety. Among the holdovers, Tony Rojas, joined by Marcus Neal, transfer from Iowa State. And let's start with this, Tony. For you, as a guy who stayed, what's different this year than when we were here at this time last year?
Yeah, I would say just the culture. I feel like it's different. Obviously, Coach Campbell and the Iowa State guys brought that over, but I just feel like the blend that we have now has been great in the culture. You know, that's Coach Campbell's culture-driven, and I just feel like the players are buying in, and I think it's something that I've never been a part of, so it's cool.
Describe that culture.
Yeah, I just say, just being accountable, the discipline that, we hold each other to. So, just those little details I feel like, is a big piece. And, those little details really do matter to win games. So I think, yeah.
Marcus, you're familiar with that, having been at Iowa State. Give people a sense of Coach Campbell and why that culture is so important to him.
I say that culture is important just like because the brotherhood it brings, the relationships, and out there on the field, you're going to want to really leave it all out on the line for people you really care for. So I say that's really the biggest thing.
When you come in a situation like this where you came 23 of your teammates, you have the head coach who was at the place you were previously, you have a lot of assistants as well. What did you see as your role in terms of helping to establish, hey, this is the way that we're going to do things?
Really just like coming in and like I know what Coach Campbell expects, how he wants his team to be. So like just holding those standards, like putting everybody on the same track, like the guys that stay here, just like meshing with those guys, combining with those guys, seeing what they see and what we see, and like all just forming one big thing. So that was the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Top 4 tacklers from Iowa State last year came. How much did you guys speak with one another about? Are you going to go? Are you going to stay? Or should we all go together? Like, what were the nature of those conversations?
So really, it wasn't too many of those big conversations. It was more of like people just trying to find out what they're going to do because like as we got the new head coach that came into Iowa State, so meeting with him, just trying to do what's best for you to be in the best position for next year. So then after that, like once you got on the visit, it's some of the Iowa State guys on the visit with you, so it's kind of like, yeah, it felt like home a little bit.
Tony, I think back to last year, and you had the really unfortunate knee injury. Give people a sense of where you are in your rehab here.
Yeah, no, rehab's been great. All spring and summer. Obviously, I was out in the spring, but feel great. Shout out to Alex, my PT guy. But yeah, no, it's been great. I feel 100%, if not better, and I'm just excited to get up back with the guys.
There was so much excitement when we were here a year ago. I mean, preseason number 2, we're talking about national championships and all that. What was it like for you to sit last year? I mean, you got hurt right as things started to go south. What was it like for you to sit there and kind of see everything fall apart?
Yeah, no, it definitely was a struggle. Obviously, my injury and then the whole Coach Franklin and, the losses stacking up. But, yeah, no, it sucked. But, we just leaned on each other as players. And, the only thing I could do is be a leader and, try to help the younger guys in the, LB room and those type of things. So, yeah, I just try to be there as much as I can mentally for those guys and, just being the leader I can be.
Let's talk about the here and now. What are you each most excited about with this defense? I can start with you, Marcus.
I'm most excited just to see, like, everybody out there together, excited, and just the fire we finna play with is gonna be amazing. I'm just excited to see all the good players come together. Like you said, we brought some of our best players from Iowa State, kept some of the best players here, and we all just coming together. So it's going to be exciting, a lot of plays made.
Tony?
Yeah, for me, I'd say just the swagger. I feel like the best defenses have the best swagger, and I feel like, if we bring it out from, the first down, I think will be great. But, yeah, I just feel like the swagger and the guys that we have, both those combined, it's going to be unstoppable. So,
Tony Rojas, Marcus Neal, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll turn our attention to the other side of the ball next. Offensive coordinator Taylor Mauser discussing his philosophies, plus our guys and what they saw from the new Penn State attack. Stick around. Rocco Becht, bringing his FBS high 39 career starts to State College, comes from some pretty good bloodlines. His dad, Anthony, was a first-round pick as an NFL tight end after an outstanding career at West Virginia. Rocco took over as the starter as a sophomore in Ames and started every game for the Cyclones over the past 3 years. And his offensive coordinator, Taylor Mauser, joins us now. Let's talk a little bit about Rocco as we get started here. He's certainly a headliner around this program. You've worked with him here the last few years. Give us a sense of what makes him special.
I think just how competitive that guy is. You always feel like you got a shot when Rocco has the ball, the demand he has at the line of scrimmage, the preparation that he has. He's here the same hours that we are as coaches. He's very involved in our game plan process, and he's a great teammate. He's very well connected to not just the wideouts. He's the quarterback that takes the O-line out to eat, the tight ends out to eat. His roommates are the linebackers, and he's with those guys on the D-line. Just very well connected to everybody on the team. Tough kid. What he went through last year, I think just – it was hard not to love that kid knowing the way that he battles.
You talk about what he went through last year. He had some injury issues. Give us a sense of how he's looking, particularly coming off the shoulder surgery.
Yeah, he's looked good. Certainly exceeded all the expectations we had. We got him back for a little bit at the end of spring and all summer, just him taking control with the wideouts, the tight ends, the running backs, just to build that chemistry, because that's what it's about. It's not about the play calls. It's about what do those guys love, the connection that they have. Can they go be on the same page with, regardless of what the defensive looks are, because we're going to see some different stuff. Can they be on the same page and get it right? And he's found a way to get better day after day, year after year. He's played a lot of football. He's seen a lot of defenses, but it's about the chemistry. It's about what works with those guys, and he's continued to get better and better after each day of summer and each day of fall camp so far.
Coach, you talk about defense. The film study that you've done, what jumps out to you differently about Big Ten and Big 12 defenses?
Yeah, it's certainly different than the Big 12. I think, the Big 12, what we saw a little bit, there was the air raid when we first got there, and so much of the defense evolved into stopping that, and that's why you saw like Iowa State defense, the 3-3-5, K-State started running it, so you saw a lot of these, a multiple different variation of what you see in the Big 12, and then you get to the Big 10, and it's certainly similar probably to like an NFL structure for what you see from defenses, more of a 3-4, more of a 4-down, big, stout, physical. It's a conference that you have to be able to run the football in. And a lot of the defenses are structured towards stopping the run. But it certainly just seems like there's a little bit more of a NFL pro-style structure to those defenses than what we saw in the Big 12 from just the multitude between Arizona with what they did with the twist game and the 3 high safety stuff from what Iowa State did and Cincinnati did. Each week it felt like very rarely do we just see a 4-down defense or a 3-4 defense in the Big 12.
What are your goals for the offense for camp?
For camp, I think for us it's always to stay healthy. And I hit on a little bit with Rocco, but building the chemistry with those guys, because I want our best runs to be what our O-line likes the best, our running back likes the best. And when you haven't had a season before, you don't know exactly what you're good at. And I'd be foolish to come in and say that we're going to run what we ran at Iowa State. And I'm not going to do that, and we're going to be different than we were. So I want to come in and walk out of fall camp with stuff, with pass plays, with run plays, our guys are confident to run, that we can go out there and regardless of the situation, when we call it, our guys know exactly how to block it regardless of the front, and they could sprint to it and do it well.
You mentioned the offensive line. I think you only brought one with you from Iowa State. How's their development?
It's been very good. Like I'll put Ryan Clinton and Jackson Scott Brown and Chase Allens, our O-line GA, their commitment to O-line development and what it means. Like those guys look like they were built in an O-line lab. Like I don't know what else they could do besides coach offensive line. And they do a great job with those guys. Trevor, being the guy that came from Iowa State, did a good job. And those guys are constantly working. They're constantly indoor. They're constantly with Rocco, getting QB center exchange. They've done a good job because for us, like we put so much on our center, and he wasn't a Penn State or an Iowa State guy. And Dom Rulli is a guy that's played a lot of football here, that's done a great job at center, where those guys can all go in, and there can't be egos at Penn State regardless of what position you play. So the O-line's always going to be as good as the unit. It's not going to be one guy. And the development's come a long way from the spring. Donko was out all spring, but he's a guy that we're going to count on to be one of our best players on the offense and be a great leader to those guys in the spring that didn't. And he's still, getting to be his best version of himself with the chemistry with the other guys. And they've just found a way to improve every day and communicate with the interior and the offensive line. So much of our summer was putting those guys through tough situations where you have to re-ID mic points, or what happens when the look isn't a 4-2 box or a 3-4 box, whatever it is. And we wanted those guys to be able to work through all the mistakes they would have made without having to do that, hopefully.
You call the game from upstairs or sidelines, and why?
Upstairs. So I need to be as far away from the cameras as possible. I don't have a face for TV like you guys do. So I like to be up top. I like to see it better. And with the iPads now, it's nice. Like you get a TV break, I can look at it right there. There's any kind of break in it at all, I can go back and look at it in the drive. And I like having a workstation. It's easier for anybody to work at a desk rather than just standing up and walking around. I got my sticky notes up there. I got the call sheet. I got situational stuff. So I like having it all laid out where I could tape it up there. I can talk to people. You got your water bottle up there. It's a much more calm environment. I don't need to be down there where people are yelling and throwing stuff at me, and Coach Campbell can yell at me on the field. I could be up and away in my own little fortress of solitude up there.
Sounds like you're playing a video game.
It is a little bit. It is a little bit in a sense.
I love the fact that he looks at the two of us and says, faces for television.
That's right. That's the reason you guys got the mics.
Yeah, that's the first thing people say.
Jake Buck's the best looking guy I've ever seen.
Let's put him on TV. Real quick, I do want to ask you, your personal story is great. You're working at a Little Caesars.
Yeah.
Were you delivering pizzas? Or what?
No, Little Caesars didn't deliver back then. They can get it on the DoorDash now, though. But they didn't deliver. I was strictly working the line, and I like working the register. I like being around the people.
I like getting up there and, getting the pizzas out, cutting them,
You can
working the
stretch and
register.
toss?
I can stretch and toss.
Really?
30 pepperonis,
You know,
16,
you used to run
10,
an Italian
4.
restaurant on the
Oh,
side.
yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I could go in. I could go in there and cut.
This could
I
be a
love it.
long
We could have a future-
post-interview convo here.
We can have a future later on.
Let's go. Next time, bring some chicken parm and we'll really do this thing right.
But Matt Campbell saw something in you. What have you seen in him? Tell us
Yeah,
what we should.
I think his ability to just inspire, he makes everybody in the facilities feel special. Mel, our janitor, to the offensive coordinator, doesn't matter who it is, he treats everybody the same. There's no egos, there's no entitlements. What him, his wife Erica, his family have done for me and my wife Laura and our kids, it's much more than just football here to our staff, to our kids. He does a good job of just making it personal. That way, like, I'm so afraid to let that guy down. Our players are so afraid to let that guy down because we know in a time where football is so transactional with him, it's very much a transformational experience. And there's nobody outside of my dad that's had the same impact on my life that he has. And I've been with him for 12 years. And in a perfect world, I hope I never have to work for anybody else. He's that kind of guy. He's the same guy every day. He's way funnier than people think. He's just such an outgoing guy, such a unique and personal guy, such a vulnerable guy. He's the kind of guy that you want to go to work for. And he's the kind of guy like you can have honest conversations with where it's not him against everyone else. Like he listens to what other people have to say. It doesn't matter if it's the GA, the OC. Like he wants to run the best play. He wants to win games. But he's a guy that you want to run through a brick wall for because he loves you.
That's great stuff. Taylor Mauser, congratulations on landing the OC gig here, a long way from Little Caesars. And
Pizza.
Yeah, we'll see you out there on the field this fall.
Yeah, thank you.
The running game in good hands is Carson Hansen, who led Iowa State in rushing a season ago, posting nearly 1,000 yards, has relocated to Penn State. He's joined in the running back room by a familiar face for Big Ten fans, James Peoples, who averaged nearly 5 yards per carry over the last 2 years as a backup at Ohio State. We'll get to those running backs in just a moment, but let's start with the quarterback. What'd you think of Rocco Becht?
Thank you, Rocco, for coming to State College. How valuable is a guy like Rocco? He knows the offense. He's a mature guy. He can teach it to some of his teammates. He knows what the coaches want. There's portal guys, there's transfer guys, and then there's Rocco guys who bring it all to the next team.
Yeah, I think one of the important facts is, as we've known in the last couple of years, quarterback play is at a premium. This is an elite quarterback, and I think it's going to allow this offense to really be able to expand, particularly on the deep ball. He's as talented and technically sound of a quarterback as we're going to see this entire camp tour. We know how important it is, and he gives him a great chance under center to make a lot of plays in this offense.
Guy who is a very willing runner as well, and we saw some of that here today. You mentioned the deep ball, Howard, and I think a lot of Penn State fans are saying we want to see that. This is a program that has had minimal explosion in the last couple of years. It's been a bit of a concern and a limiting factor. What about the guys he'll be throwing to?
I think they've had these guys in the past as well, and that's not to say that they couldn't or these guys can't. I think that it's there. So much of it to me is about what this offense is going to be like. Can you protect the quarterback? Does he have an opportunity to make quick decisions? And his pre-snap read going back to the quarterback is going to allow these wide receivers to be able to make plays vertically down the field because they'll have chances to get open in one-on-one situations.
And they have a quarterback who knows the deep ball part of their offense. And so they can get with Rocco, what do you like best? It's something you can work after camp and work in the summer with the other guys. But remember, it has to be called and it has to be protected before it happens.
And he knows these wide receivers, right? Particularly Soel and Eskelson, who came along from Iowa State. Amarian Jackson had a nice day, a freshman from the state of Nebraska. So there are some deep threats. I mentioned the running backs off the top. Howard, we need your professional assessment of the backfield.
It's a really talented group. I think when you think about Carson, to me, he has a chance to be really, really special. And it's not that he's this elite athlete, but he is so fundamentally sound. He's patient as a runner. He has great vision. He's going to help that offensive line block their guys, particularly at the second level, because he's so patient. I really like the way he carries the ball and what he does and just playing without the ball as well and adding Peoples into that mix as well. This is a talented running back room that I think will be able to put up some huge numbers this year.
Peoples strikes me as a guy that can use creatively as well, a really versatile back. So lots of possibility, no doubt, for this Penn State attack. We will wrap things up next. Take a look at a very favorable schedule for Penn State. plus some final thoughts from our day with the Nittany Lions. It's the Football Training Camp Tour on the Big Ten Network. Getting set for year one for Matt Campbell in State College, which kicks off September 5th against Marshall over on FS1. We've got their Week 3 game against Buffalo. Penn State doesn't play any CFP teams from a year ago, though they do face 3 teams who are ranked in the preseason coaches poll, USC, Michigan, and Washington, the latter 2 on the road. They open Big Ten play here against Wisconsin before heading to Evanston for the first ever game at Northwestern's new Ryan Field. No one scrutinizes the schedule quite like Jerry, particularly when there's a first-year coach involved. So as we wrap things up here from State College, your thoughts on how all that fits together?
Maybe the greatest first-year schedule in the history of college football. No, you look at the 3 non-cons, right? Obviously, those are matchup opponents, or Penn State's obviously going to have better players. That's the good news. The bad news is if you're 3-0 and you think you invented the game, and your next 2 games are Wisconsin and Northwestern, who both predict to be better. So emotionally, after those first 3, things have to change, and I'm sure Coach Campbell will make everybody know things are changing pretty quickly.
Yeah, obviously we only get a chance to see these guys once, but to me, the enthusiasm that they have, the way they're going about their practice, taking care of things there, I don't think that they're going to have any of those situations where they all of a sudden think they invented the game. You never know. These are young people, but they are well coached, and I think that's part of it. And each week, when you think about it, new program, not a new program, but a new coaching staff coming in, everyone's got something to prove. Everyone wants to prove that they belong, that they're the best at what they do, and I think they'll be dialed in each and every week. But those are going to be some great tests when you start talking about the Badgers and then having to come to Northwestern into their new facility. It's going to be some challenges for them.
And the other thing, Howard, the defense being the better unit right now, that may change, but to go into those first 3 matchups with a good defense, not a lot of pressure on the offense to score a lot of points, it lets the offense grow a little bit. Really, it's a perfect schedule.
You couldn't script it out better. I mean, for a first-year coach, not having to play any of the teams that made the CFP from the Big Ten last year, which isn't to say some of these teams might not make it this year, but again, all you can do is kind of look back on what we saw a year ago. And then I agree with you. I mean, look, Wisconsin has vastly improved. We just saw them. That's going to be a supercharged atmosphere, no doubt, in Evanston for that first game in Ryan Field. But to have the 3 games against the ranked teams in the preseason ranked teams come later in the schedule, you certainly appreciate that. So that's the story here from State College. Coming up next on our preseason camp tour, a journey to Oregon. We will check out Dan Lanning's team, one with national championship aspirations this year. You can get a look at the Ducks coming up next. As we leave State College, want to give a big thanks to Greg Kincaid and his staff for all their hospitality. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you down the road on the Big Ten preseason tour.